video, we're going to talk about a new feature for the 2025 season for SASPI. This is known as freeze events. You'll notice in the new icon right here in the app, it'll show you the little snowflake and show you the active freeze events of the system. This is giving you more actionable data into your system of where your leaks are, where you should spend your time to get more and more vacuum from your system, over increase your yield, and know what's going on in your system all the time. Traditionally, you would look at the vacuum levels here while the woods would get colder and colder. Maybe it's 35 or 40, 38, 35. As that temperature begins to drop, the lines would begin freezing up, especially the lines with leaks, and then you could find those leaks the next day. That required looking at this page constantly during those freeze events. What we had here is just a plus minus. This is the difference in vacuum relative to the releaser. And where we had a high difference in vacuum is typically where you have your leak. What we have now is what the snowflake could be a freeze event here, lists the number of active events against every single main line. We can now click that snowflake to get more information about that specific freeze event. On the freeze events page, now we can apply different filters. We can filter by sugarbush. We can filter by a specific main line. I'm going to go back to all. Freeze event can be active. It's happening right now and it's still low vacuum, or inactive, meaning it happened in the past. It could be triggered by a decrease vacuum above freezing. So it's triggered by SASPI. The vacuum was low and decreasing while the temperature is above freezing. That's most times the most critical ones to solve. It could be decreasing vacuum below freezing, maybe a sag in your main line, or you can also manually create events. An issue can be brand new, the system just created it. It could be acknowledged by you that, yes, I acknowledge that alarm is active. I can plan the work for the day. So I can mark items as work planned, and these are the things I got to take care of for that day. Once you resolve an issue, maybe a squirrel chew, maybe a leaky saddle, maybe a spout pulled out, you can mark it as resolved and then filter those events out. You can look at day really quick by the last day, by the last 3 days, or even the last 7 days, and see all the events, whether active or inactive. For custom periods of time, you can use the date picker to select maybe even the whole season and see all the events that happened at the end of the season. At this point, there's different icons here for each event. So the card visual here is one event. There's another event, another event. Let me go back to 3 days just to see the most recent. The visualization here is different icons to quickly point out what's happening and why. The first visual that you see here is a down arrow with a thermometer and sun. Think of that as decreasing vacuum while it's warm out. And this is decreasing vacuum while it's cold out or below freezing. And this is a manual event that was created. The next piece is either resolved, which is basically a checkbox. An item can be work planned with the hammer that work is being planned, or there's a slightly different icon with a notepad that shows the event is acknowledged. If you filled out the reason and we identified what it was, it'll list the reason here, so you know why that happened once you categorize it. If an event is active, like it's low vacuum right now, this will be active or inactive. And then the icons you see on the left-hand side is what type of notes or information do you have against that event? In this case, this one has a picture, it has manual notes, free-form notes, and you also marked the location of it. If we click into any of these events, we can then update that information. So here I can give it a status. I can say I resolved that issue. I can give it a reason of what happened for that issue. Maybe a spout pulled out, hollow tree, and for now we just list the most common reasons there. We can add free-form notes. You can really type anything you want in the notes section. Here, if you're doing this from a mobile device, you can take a picture, even mark your location of where that issue was in the woods. You can quickly, if you make any changes here, you can save that information to always come back and view it. You can share that information, like on a phone, quickly text it or email it to somebody else. And then real quick, you can, like the value of the end-of-line monitors is it creates the event, and now you can see, well, what happened before leading up to it? What was vacuum? What was temperature? what was vacuum and temperature during that event? That's the blue shaded area. And what was temperature after, or the temperature and vacuum after the event? And is that corrected? For now, we made it 6 hours before and then 6 hours after the event to you can quickly see what the data was doing as well. If I jump back one page, we can also add a brand new event. So maybe you're just want to take notes about what work you want to do in the sugarbush. You can add a manual event. I can assign a mainline to it, maybe mainline 6. I know what I need to do is that one has has a sag in the mainline. I'll do work planned, and so remember to bring some posts to post this up. And if I was on a mobile device, I could take a picture, mark the location. If it's click the button, it'll know right where you are. If you do the picture, it'll bring up the camera. You can take a picture of it as well. I click save, and now I have that alert or that freeze event tracked for that main line. This is brand new for the 2025 season. We're still refining some of the functionality. We'll introduce more and more features to the freeze event capability here, both beginning and throughout the season. Really appreciate your feedback on what things work well, where you notice opportunities, and what other features you'd want to see in this area. Reach out with any questions.